Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody is ready. This is going to be an epic run session. What are we on? We're on, okay, right, we've got 4 hours. We'll definitely have to split these into smaller videos, but we have got 4 hours of Bash coming up. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at starting to build towards some useful tools. We're going to carry on the series from where we've been. We're going to have a look at some parsing variables into Bash. We're going to have a look at building up function libraries. We're going to have a look at interface design for the users. We're going to sort of proceed from there. So this video, I'm going to set a foundation of what we're going to use in this 4-hour session. It might be multiple videos to you. Thanks to my editor. My editor really hates me as well. This haphazard fashion, but hey, thank you very much, Roy. Sip of coffee. Oh, that is good. Okay, hopefully everyone's caffeinated. Hopefully everyone's got their water's on standby. Let's just go. Let's go. Come on. Here we are, and I've set up previous to this lesson. So we have literally the base bones of a proof of concept.sh with the shebang in it. Now, even this actually, I should just warn you. In future videos, we're going to discuss between using bin bash binary reference in the bin directory versus a user environmental setting of bash binary, and we're going to talk about the security concerns, and we're going to talk about the sort of use of it. So just for now, let's just use the shebang. But what we're going to do in this video is we're going to make a function. So let's just start making a function. We'll call it proof of concept. And just put the curly brackets there. Hopefully this shouldn't be new to anyone at this point here. I'm just going to echo out some lines. Let's say it should be a refresher for most people. So let's just say something like at line number, like so. Now, if you remember from previous videos, I do like to put the curly brackets around my variables, especially when they're strings, just in case you haven't got a separator. So in this case, we are going to have a comma which is not supported in bash variable names. But as I was saying in previous videos, if this wasn't here and this was a run-on string, it might cause us errors because bash doesn't know what we're referencing. So I'm going quite fast. I'm just conscious that I've only got 4 hours. So at line number, we'll say at line number variable. Let's make that lowercase actually. Variable. We'll just say var. Variable 1 equals. We'll just put the curly brackets here, but you don't have to. You could just do this. But again, just for my own sanity, my own OCD, I like to put the curly brackets around it. So at line number, variable 1 equals 1. Down here, we're going to start calling our function. So we'll call it proof of concept. What should we pass in? Let's pass in. I don't really want to pass in 1. Okay, let's pass in A. Okay, so pass in A. Okay, so let's just chomod plus X, which is the equivalent actually of, instead of doing like well, it's not the equivalent of that, but like when you're chomodding using the octal notation, you have to set the user, the owner, and the everybody group. If you just do the plus X, you just set the executable bit for yourself. So let's just do that for now. Proof of concept. Control the L to clear the screen. Proof of concept. Okay, right. So at this point now, we can run our script. When we run our script, it's going to declare this function, and then we're going to put a value of A into this function, which is going to be replaced here, which is the reference for the first variable or the first value passed into our function. Now, this shouldn't be new to anyone at this point. So let's just do this. So we run our script, and we can see at line 6, variable 1 equals A. And we can do this, as you would expect, multiple times. So we do 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. And if we just go here and do A, B, C, D, Control L that, run that. Now, the problem here is I just put that on the command line. I'm rushing too fast, so let's just put it up here. Okay, so now we can see that we call our script, which happens to be proof of concept. I should maybe actually make this function name different because it might be confusing people. We're running the script called proof of concept, but our function is also called proof of concept. So let's just name that now. If I just select it, press Control D, that will also select the second one. So you can see now on line 13, we've also selected that function. And we'll just rename this to var test. Okay, so you can see now that the name of the script has no bearing on the function name. So we do it again, and we can see line 6, 7, 8, and 9. We have variable 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those equal A, B, C, and D. Okay, so at this moment in time, this is probably just run-of-the-mill stuff for the majority of you out there. If it's not, maybe just go back some of the videos and just check some of the stuff that we've been doing before. But if this is your first time seeing it, it's not hard to follow, so maybe this video will be sufficient enough. Roy, if we can just maybe put a link somewhere to the start of this series. Cheers. Roy must hate me. Okay, right, so let's just copy that line here. I'm just going to paste it up here. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to have a look at the $0 variable. The $0 variable is special in Bash because it's not actually a value that you pass in, it's actually the name of the function. If this was at the script level, it would be the name of the script. We'll have a look at that in a second. So if I just run this now, proof of concept, you can see that the script here, you can see here that the script name proof of concept as the base name has actually been passed into the $0, and we're referencing it here. So that's the $0 value. So every time that we use the $0, we can use that as a base name for the script itself. So if we're having a tool or a function, we need to start working out the path of things, and we need to concatenate the name of the script and things like that. That's where the $0 can come in handy. The next thing that we can look at, so let's copy this again, and we'll say down here, and we'll say this one's going to be the last argument that we've passed to the, are we still running? Yeah. This is going to be the last argument that we've passed to the function. Okay, so for this one, we use the $, and we're going to use curly brackets. We're going to have the exclamation mark, and then we're going to use the pound sign like so. And I'm going to take that, put it there, and it doesn't really make sense out there. So let's just say last arg equals. Okay, so the last argument passed is D, and as you can see, the last argument we passed here was D. Okay, so clear screen, Control L. Okay, so the next thing that we might need to see inside our script is how many arguments we actually pass in. So if we were dependent on a certain amount of arguments being passed to our function, we might need to do some kind of if conditional statement to check the number. So how can we get the number of arguments? Well, it's actually a slightly modified version of this. So if I just copy this line now, I'll copy that and we'll go to the top. Not that it matters, but I'm just going to go to the top. I'm going to take away the exclamation mark, and we'll just do num arg, like so, and we'll just go up and down. And you can see at line 5, we've got the number of arguments. So that helps ensure that we know exactly that we've got the amount of arguments that we were expecting on the command line. Okay, so we're starting to build up some useful syntaxes here. One of the questions that frequently comes up is, what if we need to pass in more than 9 values? And it's actually really simple because, in fact, you've probably guessed it already, but we can actually just do things like 10. Now, typically, if you had this kind of syntax going on, that wouldn't work. And you can see VS Code is actually highlighting that the $1 is a variable in itself, and it doesn't understand. Obviously, the 0 here is part of the argument. So for clarity, we just put the curly braces around, so that'd be 10. And we could do all this up to, let's just put 10. So here now, if I do these 4 again, like so now we've got 8. Now we've got 12. But if I actually go to here and we'll say 10, and I now run our script again, you can see that variable 10 equals 10. So we've looked at the number of arguments that get passed to a function and how to reference that. We've looked at how to get the script function name, etc., using the $0. We've looked at referencing all of the variables, as many as we want, but just beyond single digits, and we've looked at double figures. So in this case here, $10. And we've also looked at how to get the last argument that's passed. Now, one other thing that's quite common, and we'll use this a lot when we go into moving towards function libraries, is how do we get all of the variables that have been passed to the function and save them to a value or variable or pass them to another function. And there's 2 syntaxes that we can use, and there's a subtle nuance between the 2. So I'm going to show you both of them in this function, and we'll go through a couple of examples to really hit this home, because this can sometimes really confuse beginners. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do, let's go echo. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to type it out and then I'll explain what it is I'm doing. So let's just do dollar and go asterisk. Like so. Now in this case here, when I echo this out, we're not going to see any difference between these 2. But I'm going to go through a few examples which will explain the difference. So right now I'm going to just comment this out. I will need it in a minute, or at least part of it. I'm going to run this just so you can see what these both do, just where they're standard quoted and just being echoed out. And then we're going to go through some of the subtle differences, and we're going to look at something called the internal field separator. So right now, let's just run this function, and I'm going to go really slow here because I really want to make sure that people understand the difference here, because we are going to use both of these syntaxes, but they're not interchangeable. Okay, so let's just run this now, and you can see that both of them have brought all of those values back on the command line. If I come down here, I'm going to delete this a second, because I want to quickly talk about the IFS actually before I set any inputs. So the IFS is a bash built-in variable that basically will tell bash what the field separator is going to be in a given string value parameter, whatever you want to say. So if I just go down to here and I actually echo out what the IFS is, by default it'll be a space on most boxes. You can set it to something different, so we can set it to a comma, we can separate it to colon, semicolon, whatever we want, but this is the internal field separator. So if I echo out now, you can see mine is a space. So bash will treat a space as a field separator. Now with this in mind, I'm going to come here, I'm going to go hello world, and I'm going to do, let's pick another value like, I don't know, what's up. Okay. So here we're passing in 2 variables, and we can tell it's 2 variables to us because we've got the quotations around the hello world and the what's up, and we're going to pass these into var test. Now again, as I pass these in now, we're not going to see much change. We're just going to see the replacement of this, but with the 2 variables. So let's just do that quickly just to prove the point. So go hello world, what is up? Now where the difference comes is the second, the $@ is preserving the quotation marks. And we'll see this now. So if I go to, let's make a second function. So let's go here and go function second. The reason I'm making a second function is this is how you'd commonly use this, this syntax. This is one of the common use cases for it. Let's just go up here and we'll pull down these 2. I'll just get rid of this a second. Actually, saying that, we could probably take that. That'll be good. Okay, so we've got a second function. And what we'll do is just Control D just to thingy that one, just bang them off. Second function, and let's do that. Okay, so we're now going to pass both of these to this second function, and you're going to see a difference. So when we pass this second function, the dollar and the @ sign is going to preserve our original quotations, and it's going to preserve the two values that we pass in as two separate values. Whereas the first syntax, the dollar with the asterisk, is going to ignore the quotation marks. It's not going to preserve them, and we're actually going to get a full long string. So let's just go down here, make sure it's saved. Control L to clear the screen. So you can see now, in the first syntax, we have one argument. The whole thing has been treated as a one big string. With the second syntax, the number of arguments is 2, and we have two separate values because it's preserving the quotation marks and what's been passed in. Now, if we were to remove the quotations on both of these, so if I was just to go delete that, and we'll delete that and delete that, these two are actually going to operate very, very similar. In fact, they're going to operate exactly the same. So if I just do that, Control L, I saw some light flicker there, it's maybe a ghost, and just do proof of concept. You can see now with both of these, we've got 4 arguments. So if I just copy this here, copy that, now we really can get rid of this. I'm just going down here, like so, and then run it again, Control L. You can see that it's actually ignoring, because we haven't put the quotation marks, what we're passing into this second function. And we're going to have 4 separate values in both cases. Again, if I was just to go and put the quotation marks around, like so, Control L, you can see I've got one long string, and I've got the hello world, what's up as 2 separate values. What might make this a bit clearer if I was to go, let's do it like this. If I copy second function, press Control D to select twice, and we'll do something like for I in, and let's go do echo I, and let's do done. Okay, so in this syntax here, as we run this, just Control L again, you can see that I inside this is a string, because this is being treated as one big string. The quotation marks inside are being ignored. This second syntax is actually preserving those quotation marks within this, and it's actually been treated as 2 separate values. But if we were to once again, let's just do something like this, like that. Now, if we do this like this, what we'll notice is they're actually going to act exactly the same. So they're going to separate everything out by the space. So the subtle difference here is if we put the quotation marks around this syntax here, we are going to preserve the quotation marks of our variables that are passed in. So this would make this really useful syntax if we were going to pass this on to another function. Whereas this is a useful syntax if we want to store all the information on the command line and we want to process it ourselves later. But that is the subtle differences between those 2 syntaxes. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just say something in the comments below, and I'll do another video. And as we go forward, we will be using the IFS, and we'll be looking at various things that we can use it for. But just for now, I hope that makes sense with the IFS, just for spaces. And in future videos, if what I'm doing is not clear, and when I go to this point of using the IFS and using these syntaxes, it's not clear, please let me know. It does mean a lot to me, the feedback in the comments. I am painfully aware that sometimes I can get a little bit too technical and a bit too fast. I am trying to lead us to a particular point. So if I need to slow down a little bit, because I want to take everyone with me on this journey, just let me know. Your feedback is honestly welcome as long as it's constructive. I can take negative feedback, but just make it constructive and let me know, how you want me to explain topics better, or if you need any more clarity, etc. So I hope you're following along. I hope you're enjoying this series. If you are, please like and thumbs up and just pass a comment in. It does give me the motivation to make more of these videos. And as I said, I'm trying to get us to a point where we can look at some more advanced topics. And this is going to be the cornerstone, the base foundation of what we're going to need in order to make functional libraries and reusable code snippets. And then I want to go into more user interface design. So I've still got quite a bit of time left for this evening. So I'm going to keep recording. But I'm guessing my editor is going to separate these up into multiple videos. So thank you for watching this one. And I hope you join me in the next video. Take care.